Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in the last session we talked about what is data binding, what are attributes, what are different kind of attributes, and how we can pass data from JavaScript to HTML into our LWC component. There we spoke about two-way data binding, that it is not possible in LWC out of the box. So in order to achieve two-way data binding, first we need to understand what is two-way data binding. Two-way data binding is basically passing the data from JavaScript to HTML and back HTML to JavaScript. So that is two-way data binding, sending the data both ways. In the last session we saw only passing out the data from JavaScript to HTML and not from HTML to JavaScript. Directly that is not possible into LWC. So today we are going to understand more about it. To understand two-way data binding, first of all we need to understand what is a method. A method or a function is nothing but a set of instructions which we can write to perform any specific task. Now this method can be called based on an event or directly when the component loads. So that we will see on the later point of time. Today we are going to see text input, in which the user can enter any value of his choice, and we would see that on every key press how that particular method behaves and how the two-way data binding takes place. Okay, so let us see first what a method is, how we can write a method, and what are the different properties of a method. So let us create a new method. I will name this method as handle name change, and I will pass a parameter to that. So this is my method name, handle name change. It follows the camel casing over here, and I have passed an argument to this. It records the input event. When we press any key, it will hold the value, and it is followed by a set of curly braces. So this is our method name parameter, and whatever comes here in between these lines, this is the method body where we would write our actual logic or set of instructions. Now let us define a variable. So this is a local variable for this particular method only. This won't be visible outside this particular method. It means you cannot access this particular input name outside this method. This method starts from this curly braces and ends over here. So you cannot access the input name outside. So we need to use var over here. It is a JavaScript property to define a variable. Okay. Now I would say event.target.value. Now this event.target.value will fetch me the entire input which the user will be setting up on the UI. Now let us see printing this particular input on the browser console. Okay. So till now it is a very simple method. It is just taking an input value from the user and it is printing it on the browser console. Okay, now let us just move these lines. Yeah, so we have created a method. Now we need to see how we can access this particular method or call this input method from our HTML. So for that I will create an input. I would give the type as text, and we will write an action over here which is on key up. So on key up is basically an action wherein it will call the method associated with this on key up on press of every key. So in order to call a method, we need to pass its name into the curly braces. Similar way we use it for attributes. Just the way we pass name into the curly braces, in the same way for LWC we need to pass the method name over here. There is no double quotes. If you pass in double quotes, it will throw up a compilation error. Okay, so today what we have seen is input type, text on key of hand name change, which is our method name. What this method is doing right now, it will take the event and it will fetch the input value, and it will console print the input value on the browser console. Now let us see how does it perform. So this is our browser console. I have cleared the console. So if I enter any name, you can see I entered R, it printed R. Then I entered A, it printed the complete input RA. And then I input M, it completely printed the entire name RAM. Okay, fair enough. The method is working fine right now. But how does this relates to our two-way data binding? Right now we have not passed anything from HTML back to JavaScript to any of the variables right now. So what we can do is, in order to update this name to the input provided by the user, what we can do is we can just assign this value to the name variable, and LWC will take care of the rest. Okay, one point which we have to note over here is, to access this name variable we need this operator. Because name is a global variable in our JavaScript controller, we need to identify that this is a global variable, and we need to call name using this dot name. Since input name is a local variable which we defined in this particular method, and the scope is for this method only, we do not need this dot input name. Okay, now let's see that once we assign it to our name variable, how does this particular component behaves. Okay, so let's see what happens now. I'll clear the console. Now as I entered a name, say Shyam. So as we can see, for every character it is printing the input value. Moreover, the Salesforce searcher name has been replaced with our input. So this is how the two-way data binding works into LWC. Directly we cannot bind it, but using a method we can do the needful. So that was about today's session. Thank you for joining. We will continue with our next set of videos. Stay tuned. Thank you.